Welcome into Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. I am the Welsh. That is KC Bubba. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. Brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, promo code Leading Off. Get a 100% match up to $100. Get prize picking because we will be prize picking. Oh, Bubba and I are both Celsius in right now. What flavor of Celsius? Brought to you by Celsius. You're doing, is that the
Kiwi guava?
Oh, kiwi. Well, I am doing tropical vibe, but look
nice.
at Bubba and I. We are Celsius bros.
Yes.
There you go.
It's usually my late night podcasting drink of choice, but today's one of those days I told the Welsh we're lacking a lot of sleep, so it's been coffee onto the Celsius right now.
Late night. This is like it's like a pseudo energy drink. What are you doing this late at night?
Yeah, well, when you do 3 podcasts and an article every night, like, you need a boost.
That is true. Okay, well, Fantasy Pros, you know where to get your next sponsorship. This has been kind of my go-to. Yeah, I got about 3 hours of sleep last night, so I'm raring to go. Look at us and look at you, Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. We're going to be answering some of your questions. If you have them, we will be going through that. We've got all the stuff. Get you prepared for the weekend. We've got some bets that are going to be locked in. All the stuff for your playoff run. I'm playing in some best. I have a best. I looked at it last night, a best ball that we did in November, and I'm in 3rd place. And this guy right here is in 1st place in it. And Bubba is just such a freaking monster, by the way. So hopefully you guys are doing well in your fantasy playoffs and running, and hopefully we can help you all out, you Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Plus, Corbin Carroll and I are back. We are back, and I will have here shortly where we went. I think I got a pretty good hint. We'll see if you guys can guess it where Corbin and I are, and maybe we'll be giving away that autograph card here into the near future. Let's talk about prognostication. Jordan Law. This is
That's crazy.
Me. This is making it all about me here, but I mean, what an absolute moonshot. If you could talk about the EV of takes, my take had a 115 EV going 450 at least, Bubba, of saying Jordan Lawlar is coming. And sure enough, Jordan Lawlar is here. He gets called up by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nick Ahmed stinks. I love him, nice guy, but you stink. Worse off. I was talking with Bogdan about this. One of the biggest discrepancies, maybe of all time. If you can think of another one, you tell me, between their defensive prowess, Gold Glove defender, and their dog garbage crap offense. Can you think of another bigger discrepancy? And maybe it's obviously like fresh in my mind, but can you think of someone who has a bigger gap between those two skill sets than Nick Ahmed?
Not in a while. There's like back in the days, when we were young and we walked uphill both ways, we cherished defense and didn't really care about offense for most of our middle infielders. But recently, Nick Ahmed, it's funny too, because you would know, being a D-backs fan, Nick Ahmed had like 2 pretty decent offensive seasons, found his way into an all-star team.
He had one.
But it's just like when he gave his press conference and he's like crying and saying,
I didn't like
this. But it's sad, but it's also like I talked about it with Bloomfield. Well, didn't you see the writing on the wall? Like, you really weren't producing. There's this stud kid coming up, and we're trying to make the postseason. So, yes, to your question, discrepancy, it's pretty large, and it's been a long time since we've seen something like it.
Especially for a guy that I think it's been in like the major, like 10 years, for that long. It's like a wild, huge gap. So he's gone. Jordan Lawlar comes up. It's announced that he's going to play every day against lefties. They're going to try to work him in other spots against righties. Well, guess what? He debuted last night. He played shortstop, and they moved Geraldo Perdomo to 3rd, and that is the setup. And they also said that he'll play some 3rd base. So Jordan Lawlar will play 3rd base. So keep an eye out for that. Plus, he got his first hit. So Jordan Lawlar did the thing. I think he is a 12-team pickup guy simply out of the fact of the stolen bases. Don't love that he's going to hit low in the order, but he's got the potential to hit for decent average, power speed combo, 1,000%. The other thing that we got gifted with is another top prospect coming up, Evan Carter with the Rangers, because of Adolis Garcia, which is no bueno. He is put on the IL with a patellar tendon strain, which at this point, with how the Rangers are playing, I would say you're done. Anything can happen, but you're probably done. So they're bringing up Evan Carter. 863 OPS, 13 homers, 26 stolen bases, a little over 108 games. So I throw to you, what type of aggressiveness would you personally want to end up having with either Jordan Lawlar or Evan Carter in leagues right now?
I'd be aggressive with Lawlar, especially. Well, I guess if you need middle infield help, but the power speed he brings, he'll play every day. You love what you see there. Carter, he is a top prospect, so that's good for him. But I'm going Lawlar side of things. I do think Adelise is going to be out for most of the rest of the season, so Carter should get some regular run. But I go Lawlar for sure.
Yeah, this is not a good. The Evan Carter thing, I had actually heard for some time that this was a possibility much earlier on, and then I just don't know why the Rangers didn't do it. This is from like an inside source that I heard, and it just didn't happen. Evan Carter's a really good, solid. I want to say he's a really solid offensive bat. That I have a little bit of a hesitation that I do wonder if Carter is going to be one of those players that I don't want to say slow starting, but Nolan Chanel, like. Maybe there's fair. Not big counting stats. Like he's got a Kyle Tucker-ness to him. It might take some time for him to really grow. I mean, hey, listen, like he's almost a 15-30 guy, but I think he might be a little slower going, where I think you're going to see Jordan Lawlar just really be able to come out. So I'm much more aggressive on Jordan Lawlar, by the way. This is a great assessment. Carly says Jordan Lawlar is adorable. So yes, very adorable. That is definitely part of the assessment that should be considered here. I mean, here's one right here. Someone got on your case on Twitter, by the way, about our Jordan Lawlar, Eddie De La Cruz thing. And Michael is asking Lawlar or Ellie rest of season. It's Ellie.
It's Ellie just because he's been proven. Like Lawlar, we like him and all. He had one okay game. He had a single, made a good defensive play. Ellie can drop bombs with the best of them. We've seen it already. So yeah, Ellie.
I want to do a fantasy league next year that is like defensive assists, how fast you throw, and Ellie will be the number one player. Like if we have
O'Neal Cruz will be two. That's why I compare the two of them every time.
Yeah, well, I love just like everybody just talks about them. Like then I would throw them up there. But yeah, this is like definitely Ellie. Yeah. Jims asks strikeout concerns with either Lawlar or Carter. Lawlar more. I don't have a ton of concern. Like Evan Carter is I think a higher end contact hitter. And that's why I kind of compared him to Nolan Chanel, is that like, I think he's going to just make decent contact, the singles, doubles guy. He can hit for power. I just don't know what that's going to look like in the majors. Lawlar has more impactful stolen bases and more impactful power. But I do worry there's a little bit more swing and miss in his game, even though he cut his strikeout rate from 21 down to 15% in the PCL. So that is a positive sign. Pay attention to that. And just be happy. These prospects are coming up. There's always a potential for a few others. This is a really great one back to, by the way, the question of who had a bigger discrepancy between their offense and defense. Look at what Jason put. John McDonald. That is if everyone remembers John McDonald, his days of what was it, the Blue Jays, really, and I'm sure did John McDonald play with the Orioles too, or am I making that up?
It sounds about right. I can look it up for you here.
I feel like John McDonald played for like a lot of teams, but it definitely I know there were Blue Jays years in there, and he was one of those. Another one of those was like Andrelton Simmons, but Andrelton Simmons had a few.
Omar Vizquel.
Okay, yeah. I feel like he had a little bit more offense, and Andrelton had a few more years.
Cleveland, Toronto, Arizona, and the Angels.
Okay, so he never played for Baltimore, but the Toronto one I was right. Yeah, and like, what did John McDonald? What was his highest home run season?
His highest home runs. He hit 6 in 2010 and 6 in 2012.
What was his highest?
He had multiple seasons with zeros. Let's put it that way.
Okay, what about stolen bases?
His highest was 7 steals in 06 and 07.
What was his batting average?
And I was going to say batting average. It's even better. He hit 277 in 2005. He's a career 233 hitter.
Nick Ahmed is John McDonald. He's just the new John McDonald.
This is the Spider-Man gif.
Yeah, it totally is. That's a really, really good one. I like that. Sabo also asked, how is Lawlar versus lefties? I think he's I'm moving back and forth with things. Good. I think he hit 380 in AA against lefties. So that's why he is like the number one guy there. He will be the dude that is going to be against lefties 100% of the time, according to Torey Lavello. So, make your moves as need be. Ryan Pepiot had a perfect game going through the 7th inning yesterday. And I think it happened while Bogman and I were streaming. I think it was going on during the Thursday night football game, but Pepiot was going. He retired 20 consecutive batters. It ended up getting broken up by Josh Bell, but he had 7 scoreless in a win. And this is kind of coming off of all those things we've talked about, all the concerns with the Dodgers right now, with the dirtbag who's on administrative leave, and the legend who, can't throw strikes, and velo is going down, and Lance Lynn, who just gets lit up every single night. They needed a guy like this. And I think you and I had been talking about Pepiot, and this was a great opportunity. He threw 84 pitches. That's the thing to really monitor. It was heavy fastball, heavy changeup, 33% swing and whiff on the changeup. The other pitches really weren't dominant. He just didn't kill you with this major strikeout performance. Did this buy you the time to feel absolutely solid with Ryan Pepiot for the rest of, whatever? I mean, obviously, like, one bad start, you can just toss him to the side. But, in this world of, like, there's really bad streaming going on right now, is Pepiot a hold and try to maybe do this through the next week or two?
Oh yeah, I'm all in on Pepiot. Like, I loved them. They were playing yo-yo with them, which was annoying. Like we've talked about, back and forth, and with the injuries and other issues in the clubhouse that you mentioned, there's no reason they shouldn't put him out there. Even Kershaw's dealing with a shoulder injury. Like, there's a lot of things going on that should keep Dodgers fans concerned. So Pepiot should be out there. He gets the Padres next week, and then if all goes well, he lines up for a Tigers-Giants two-step in 2 weeks.
Oh, and that could be that's championship week.
Fantasy playoffs, yes. So, like, that is big boy stuff that you want Ryan Pepiot down the stretch.
Oh, I love that one. I'm depending where you are in your playoffs. I know there's like some people that are far and some that might just be going this week, but I think in my playoff world, that lines up to championship week.
It's either championship week, or if you do a 2-week championship, it's the first of the 2 weeks. Either way, you're using them in the end for some big boy stuff.
Here's a question: 1 or 2 week championship? What is the right answer?
2.
Really?
Because and this is because I'm not a head-to-head guy, because I hate how you could have a great season and just one bad week ruins your whole thing. I've talked to Bogman. I talked to Bogman about that in depth on shows when we used to do shows together. And I know I'm kind of in the minority when the ITL world, but I'm not. I think you need 2 weeks to make that happen. I'm
indifferent. Most things, I'm not like, it's got to be. But, like, I don't know. I kind of think, like, 1 works. The two. Okay, let me say it like this. I'm trying to think of how to say this properly.
Bubby, you're an idiot.
I feel like a 2-week playoff is the most roto way to play head to head, because what you're doing,
why I like it then.
Yeah, yes. Okay, sure. But what you're doing is you're like, all right, well, how 2 weeks really stabilizes things so something crazy doesn't happen. That's what playoffs and head-to-head are all about. It is about the craziness of what can happen in any given week, where a 8-seed team or 6-seed, however many you play with, can get into the playoffs and all of a sudden pull it off. The 2-week thing is like, yeah, well, that crazy thing will happen, but let's make sure we go 2. So I'm not trying to be completely dismissive of that. That might be a really good thing. And you might want of all the things in the playoffs, you actually might want the stabilized 2-week period. But I'm fine either way. I lean towards 1 just because that's what all of them are. Though I was going to say all the playoffs are 1 and then you go to 2. In the Scott White Dynasty League that I'm in, Scott White's playoffs are 2-week runs. So he started early. I think we started like 2 weeks ago. I'm not in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. But it's like 2 weeks for every round. So that's what makes it a little bit different. So I just didn't know where people were, what they cared about. Either way, get Ryan Pepiot. Any thoughts on Emmett Sheehan and Ryan Yarbrough? Whips put up here. The stock is going up on all of them, but I was curious, especially with Emmett Sheehan.
Sheehan, I know a lot of people love. I feel like we're just a year away still, because I haven't seen the consistency to what like the hype train was coming into the season. I love Yarbrough. I've been pumping him up for a few weeks. If people look at what he's done since he joined the Dodgers in that bulk relieving role, it's been absolutely fantasy gold, and you've got him for free on Fab waiver wires. I'm pulling it up right now for you. He has, since joining, we talked about this last week. Why can't these pages load faster? Ryan Yarbrough, since joining the Dodgers, has 3 wins and 2 saves in 7 outings. He has been darn impressive coming out of that long relief role, and it's a consistent thing because these young pitchers they're bringing Yarbrough once or twice a week out of that role. So I'm a big fan of what he can bring to you.
And the Dodgers,
in those leagues that you're looking at, he qualifies as a reliever and a starter, which could help you a ton in certain
Spurp. What is, to remember as well, the Dodgers are falling apart, and all of these guys low percentage own. Angelo right here, 20% rostered Ryan Pepiot is. So, keep an eye out on all those guys. One other little last thing I just noticed on Pepiot, this is something I try to pay attention to a decent amount, especially fastballs. This is a wild one. Of his 41 fastballs thrown yesterday, he had an outside the zone swing percentage, 54%. That's a wild number. I just want people to know. Like, for Brandon Pfaadt is like the low line. He'll get like a 8% outside the zone. Typically, you'll see 13 to 15% outside the zone, especially on fastballs. And a 54% outside the zone fastball is really impressive. Might be more about the team that you're facing, but also just how effective his fastball is, Ryan Pepiot is. So it's just a great pickup, and he's someone that you're going to ride, hopefully, into the sunset. Ronald Acuna hit a pair of homers as the Braves beat the Cardinals 8-5. Ronald Acuna now has 34 homers, 63 stolen bases. There is no actionable item here, but really to maybe just do a slight little throw that with the potential injury with Mookie Betts right now and Ronald Acuna, I'm not really sure. I think this really close race where everyone is like, hey, this is going to be one of the best. I saw someone say, like, this is the best race we've seen in so long. And it's like, well, it's not. I mean, there's
still taking the field.
Well, I mean, now it doesn't look good. It looked great.
I know.
It looked great.
I just had to have fun with them.
I'm not taking the field now, and because Ronald Acuna, 63 stolen bases, and also Mookie Betts, he had fouled the ball off his foot. He left the game on crutches, but the X-rays were negative. So what does that mean?
Thing's never good. That's never good.
Well, and the Dodgers can't afford to lose him. I mean, not that the Dodgers are in absolute peril, but their roster is falling apart. Yeah. So they're going to need him big, but they're going to need him to probably sit and rest a little bit. So I think this yesterday on both sides was a defining factor of ending that conversation of the MVP. Mookie Betts has had an insane year, but if he's going to miss some time, Ronald Acuna stacking, I feel relatively confident this is that is always going to go to Acuna, regardless of how amazing Mookie Betts has been. But I think this solidifies it. Am I being overreactionary?
No, this is it. As long as he doesn't, I don't even think it matters. He could probably not play the rest of September, and it's Ronald Acuna's game.
Yeah. Last on the big news, Spencer Torkelson had 2 homers as well on Thursday as the Tigers beat the Yankees, as they continue to keep doing. And I just wanted to throw out, we've talked a decent amount about Torkelson this year. Torkelson is now sitting, I believe, at 27. Yeah, 27 homers, 76 RBI, 78 runs, 233 batting average is not good. But the reiteration that he will probably be one of my big sleepers going into next year. Probably won't be that sleepery. I'll just have him higher simply because of all the underlying stuff that are in effect with a poor batting average. 52% hard hit rate is monstrous. He's got an under 25% strikeout rate, over 10% walk rate. EVs look great. 15% barrel, which is double what he did last year. He's just making really good moves. The average just hasn't quite caught up. Spencer Torkelson is a dude. And I think Torkelson he'll be an outside the top 100 player, but he'll be like around 125. I think he's going to probably be a big target for me in drafts, though we'll start to see in some of these early like mocks and real drafts that are going on. I'd be curious where he's going.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty popular now. Then it'll fade away for a second when people look at quote unquote projections, and it'll come right back up again because people realize how good he is. And now it's like, okay, number 1 pick, struggled out the gate, made improvements. Oh, wait a minute. He can make even more improvements. You're telling me this is the guy. It's like when Christian Walker finally took that step, it's got that kind of vibe to it. You want that Torkelson thing. And I'm there. And also speaking of the Tigers, for again, people, last 3 weeks of the season, easiest schedule in baseball. They have 14 games, home, whatever, but they play so many bad Central teams. That's a team you want to stream right now if you can get Tigers bats. It's scary to say. They've been very, very good with the young players. Like, get some Tigers.
Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, those are the guys. Yep. The only thing that does worry me is like on the season, Torkelson, besides this month, which is only like a couple games in, he's only had 1 month where he's hit over 240 the entire month. But 228 pre-All-Star break batting average, 242 second. Yep. This is one of those cases where you get a 245 to 255 Spencer Torkelson. You're looking at probably 35 homers. You might be 100 with 30 plus homers next year with a questionable batting average. And if he's going outside the top 100, he's instantly, I think, a deal. So we'll see where projections go.
You look at that quality of contact he's got going too. It's tremendous stuff. So, and he's only going to get better. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Tork's a guy that You never know. Maybe there'll be a lot of guys like us that keep talking about him and want to keep using him. But I think there's a lot of he's walking more in the second half. There's a ton there for Torque.
Yeah. A couple listener questions in here, not a ton. Jason said, rank these 5 for Dynasty League: Matt McClain, Royce Lewis, Tristan Casas, Spencer Torkelson, and Jason Dominguez. I'm actually going to be working on my Dynasty ranks today and updating them, just as a cheap plug, over on my Patreon at inthisleague.com. I've got that Dynasty list I update every single month. And I want to say the top 3 are a combo between Jason, Royce, and Matt McClain. And then it's going to go, for me, God.
It's tough.
I think I might... Casas and Torkelson, I'm going to tier those guys. It's those 2 and the top 3. My gut tells me I think I'm going to go Jason Dominguez,
Royce Lewis, Matt McClain.
Yeah, it's going to be right now.
Yeah.
Jason, Royce, McClain, and I'm just going to make commitments. Casas, Torkelson. That's going to be my Dynasty. It might change when I put up the list. That is a very good list, but Jason Dominguez is my top, and it sounded like you kind of agree. You stepped me into it anyways.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on that. The Casas Torque one's very interesting. That's because those are 2 just stud young players that both could take, like, we're all talking Torque, and Casas is just crushing baseballs and doing his thing. So yeah, very good stuff.
Very similar players.
Yep.
David said Garrett at Milwaukee or Mackenzie Gore at Pittsburgh for playoffs week.
I'm going to lean Mackenzie Gore. I'm a huge Braxton Garrett fan. I want more Garrett next year. His velo looks a lot better, but I'm going with Mackenzie Gore in that matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mackenzie Gore as well. I think Mackenzie Gore, even though it hasn't been as great as of late, he has shown those signs to us this year. So I'm going to go that. Dan said, thanks for turning me on to prospects like Ethan Salas and James Wood before anyone else. I rarely hear much about Wood, but I know to keep holding. Actually, it's funny. I just dropped, I'm going to get James Wood stuff up here. I just dropped the Prospect 1, if people care about that. That is my prospect-based fantasy show. And I did a 5 right and 5 wrong. Also talked to Chris Blessing of Baseball HQ, but I did like 5 things I got right and 5 things I got wrong. People, Bubba, as you know, people love accountability. The accountability crew out there. I don't usually like those people because they're usually a-holes, but I don't mind doing it myself because I think the exercise sometimes like helps me figure things out. And one of the rights was, I was like, I'm going to be annoying here, but Ethan Salas, I was like absolutely right about. And I said Ethan Salas was going to fix that problem of people thinking the international class was garbage and wasn't worthwhile. He was going to bring it back. James Wood is a little bit indifferent. I've always had problems with James Wood in that and I've said this a bunch. Every time I see him, he stinks in person. And I've seen him a lot because he used to be a Padre, but he is a really great talent. He has struggled on the back half of the year. His average has dipped down to 253, 24 homers, 16 stolen bases, but he's got a physical attribute skill set that feels like Ellie De La Cruz. Big hard hit numbers. He can run, hit for power. He can put up some average. So he's an absolute hold right now. He's a top 10 fantasy prospect. But yeah, thank you for the Ethan Salas love there. And, James Wood is pretty good. Just the rest aren't necessarily. Hassel and Green are 2 players that I brought up in the got wrong category. Dylan Cruz, I will not. And hopefully we'll be talking about Dylan Cruz maybe in the AFL. That is something I have hope for. All right. Where in the world are Welsh and Corbin Carroll? It's back. And here is the hint for today that you can put in the chat. Everybody ready? The hint is sky. The sky. Sky. The word sky. I didn't want to say the sky and give anything away, but sky is the hint here for where did Corbin, Carroll, and I go?
I'm intrigued now.
Take your guesses. You can put in there. At the end of the show, I will let you know where we went. And the people with the most correct answers, like I said, at the end of the season, I'm going to send them an autographed Corbin Carroll card. The hint is sky. Okay. Injuries, couple of them. Sandy Alcantara likely out for the rest of the season with a right forearm flexor strain. Edward Cabrera had a relief appearance, so make sure you pay attention to that. He came in like the 3rd inning. He struck out 8, went 4, walked only 2. That's a very good sign. And I believe he is lined up to start next week, though I think it might have been against the Dodgers. I don't remember what it was, but
next week I got it right here.
Okay.
He's got a 2-step at Milwaukee versus Atlanta next week.
Okay, no, that's what it was. I like the Milwaukee.
Atlanta.
I do not like the Atlanta. No chance. No chance.
Nope.
We already told you about Mookie Betts, and then also just wanted to throw this out there. According to the Mariners and Jerry DiPoto, Jared Kelenic will be activated from the IL any day now. Absolutely any day. He has been rehabbing after, kicking the thing and being dumb, and he knows he was being dumb. That's about it on the injury front. Outside of, we've already told you about like Adolis. Also, Jorge Soler was put on the IL, which was a big stinky one. Weekend streamers. So, Bubba, we've been doing this every Friday to talk through people on weekend streamers. This is one of the worst weekend streamers we've had as of recent. And I literally don't have anybody I like for Saturday going down the list. Can you tell me otherwise? Is there someone you dig? If you're my streaming is going to happen on Sunday if I do it. Yeah. I don't like a single reasonable streaming option that's probably not owned in leagues.
Yeah, that's the thing, is there's nothing that's really not owned. Like Reese Olson pitches on Friday. If that'd be a dude I'd be into. But for Saturday, there's really nothing that really attracts anybody's fancy. Bloomfield and I, we do a weekend streaming game every Thursday night, and pitching is brutal. I guess the one I could say, here's one. Michael King of the Yankees being stretched out. He's got Milwaukee, and he pitched 5 innings in his last start. That'd be the only one I'd look at if you need a streamer.
Okay, yeah, because he isn't owned. Okay, you know what? That actually is kind of a decent one.
That'd be the one I'd give you.
Oviedo's going, and that's one I could go to, but it's against Atlanta, so
pass.
No chance.
Nope.
Here was the only other one that was looming around, I will tell you. Brian Wu against Tampa was one that, I think when I was on CBS, we were going through there. I could maybe talk myself into it, but I just don't like any of them. I don't like King. I don't like Wu. I wouldn't try to do it. So if we move over to Sunday, I did pick 2 that have some varying degrees of ownership. Ranger Suarez seems like the number one. He might be a tad bit high. I'd have to, there's 3 different sets of leagues if you want to look at numbers like CBS, Yahoo, ESPN. I don't know where he is, but the Miami matchup, Ranger Suarez has been really good lately. That would be like the number one player I'd be looking at streaming. And the other one, Brandon Pfaadt. And I know that might make people cringe, but, over his last 4 or 5 starts, he's only had 1 stinker. I think it was that Dodgers game that was a stinker. These are must-win games. Brandon Pfaadt has done a better job of being able to, limit the fly balls. Cubs are a really tough matchup, of course. But if I'm trying to chase strikeouts, I'm going with Brandon Pfaadt. If I am hugging my ratios, then I'm not touching it. But it's Ranger Suarez and Pfaadt. Anything for Sunday for you?
Not really. I love Pfaadt. I picked him up a lot of places when he came back up, and it's been pretty nice overall. So I think I'm going to agree with you on that one. Some might tell you Jesse Schultens, but that hurts. So yeah, Pfaadt would be the one for me.
Okay, yuck. 3 up and 3 down. Spencer Torkelson, as we mentioned. I don't know why I put him in here twice. We just talked about it, but he did go. He's that good. He went 2 for 4, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. Tommy Pham, who apparently got a whole article written about him.
Great guy.
Yeah, about how great a guy he is. Okay. Sure. He went 2 for 5 with 2 homers and 3 RBI. He's a great baseball player. There's no denying it. Been a great pickup, but okay. Next article's gonna be about the awesome teammate that Anthony Rendon is, and that all the
that'll be on the Onion though.
What a great clubhouse guy Julio Urias is. All right, let's keep going here. And then Chris Taylor, a monster. I saw someone post him earlier. 3 for 5 with a homer and 5 RBI. I actually have him in a couple spots because of his versatility, and I play in a lot of deeper leagues. Chris Taylor went off on the down. Carlos Rodon, 3 2/3, 7 earned runs. Dude, what is the scenario where you take Rodon next year? Will you do it?
There isn't one. There wasn't a scenario where I took him this past year. I'm not taking him next year. I'm one of those guys that's very, when it comes to pitching, you got to prove to me you're right. I'm not taking a chance on a guy like that. I'll take a chance on a rookie pitcher, a young pitcher, before I'll take a chance on Rodon.
No chance. I don't want any part of it. Great. Oh, he'll be like, oh, he fixed his thing. I'm not here to listen to it. It's just been so bad. Adam Wainwright, also bad. 5 2/3. He walked 3, gave up 4 homers, 6 earned runs. And then how about, we haven't done this all season, but it happens all the time. Javi Baez, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Though he did get a very surprising walk.
Breaking news. Walker Buehler will not pitch this season.
Did he get shut down?
That's the Underdog Fantasy headline that just came through. I am now looking up more information on him real quick. Note from the Dodgers. Today, the Dodgers announcing the right-handed pitcher Walker Buehler is recovering from Tommy John surgery. Will not return during the 2023 season with an eye ahead to 2024.
That sounds like something wasn't
up.
going. You don't send him out on those AAA appearances and then be like, oh yeah, no, he's not. Think about how much this team needs him right now.
Yep.
I don't think that's super good. Let's monitor that. Maybe it's a very small thing, but if you were holding on to Walker Buehler, no soup for you.
Nope.
Is there more update? Okay.
No, that's it. That's wild.
All right. Well, PrizePicks. It's the most fun time of the year. Leading off is a promo code. Use it today. 100% match up to $100. So when you make your first deposit, you use that promo code. They will give you $100 and you can have so much fun with it. You can make your PrizePicks, which don't even have to just be baseball. So, Bubba, what are you doing for your PrizePicks? I'm going to take some Celsius while you make your PrizePicks.
My PrizePicks, I'm going back to the well on Francisco Lindor over 8.5 fantasy points. I love the Mets because they're facing this pitcher called Dallas Keuchel. So big fan of that one. Kerry Carpenter talked about the Tigers over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs in a great matchup for Detroit against Lorenzen. And then I like to be a little negative on this one. Kodai Senga, Dallas Keuchel, under 10 combined strikeouts because Senga, who has 10 or more in 2 straight, I'll give him that. His over-under 7. I still don't think Keuchel can strike out 3. So I'm going to take the under in that one.
Now, I did see that one. When I looked at it, I was like, I was like, Senga's going to have to get 90% of this.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to get them all. So I'm like, okay.
Which possibility? I mean,
it is definitely.
You know, don't say it's not, but I kind of like that one. I actually also have a combo for my PrizePicks today. I'm taking Christopher Sanchez and Yuri Perez K 10.5 over. Sanchez kind of sneaky. This is going to be heavily weighted on Yuri Perez, but I'm also okay with that. So 10.5 over is the first. I'm taking Zach Gallen fantasy score 28.5. It's an algorithm. He has had 2 not of the best outings, so that number comes down. But when Zach Gallen is on, these are 35 plus fantasy score easy. So this is kind of a gift in my mind. And then I'm going to go there and judge fantasy score at 8.5. On the best bets for today, I only picked 2, and I kind of picked the same realm of them because I was 1 for 2 on the last show. The Diamondback Colorado first 5 hit in the first inning, but the other 2 were just so brutal. Kansas City scored 2 runs. That hurt me. And then Max Scherzer was also like embarrassingly bad. So I went back to the well for an easy play, and my 2 easy plays here were the Arizona Diamondbacks today through the first 5 to be up by 1 run. This was plus money last night. And the Cubs are a great team. This is Zach Gallen going. I don't care if it's on the road. Diamondbacks up by 1 run through the first 5. That was plus 120. And then I'm going with Boston through the first 5 innings plus half of a run. That was -1. It's juiced. It's juiced up a little bit. But that is, if they are tied, I win. +5. If they're up, I win. So those are my 2 bets, some first 5 bets. Bubba, what do you think? What do you got?
Jordan Walker over 1.5 total bases. Great American Small Park going against Andrew Abbott. Walker's been swinging it really well. +110. Kerry Carpenter over 1.5 total bases. +135. Goes with my PrizePicks there. And then Jason Dominguez to get over 1.5 at +135. I was thoroughly confused on. So I'll take that one in a heartbeat. Jason Dominguez has a great matchup on Friday, so we'll run with that one.
All right. Well, how are you constructing some DFS lineups today?
Today we're going Kodai Senga as my top pitcher at 10K against the Mets. Against the Twins. Griffin Canning 8.8K versus Cleveland. Canning's actually been sneaky good since the All-Star break.
Sneaky good. I almost played him in a PrizePicks today, and I was like, I just can't do it with Canning.
That's where I was. I was looking at his PrizePicks. I'm like, yeah, but DFS, I'm in. So yeah, I like him. And then if you need another option, you say Kikuchi's 8.2 against Kansas City. Stacks like the Mets against Keuchel, obviously. Detroit versus Lorenzen. The Yankees versus Ray. All 3 stacks I like a lot, and Detroit gives you a ton of value. So did the Mets, actually, because value, Ronnie Mauricio's 3.2K against Keuchel. Mark Vientos continues to be far too cheap, 2.2K against Keuchel, and Vientos has been playing actually really, really well over the last week or so. And then Edward Olivares, 2.8K against Kikuchi is another value for you. But yeah, those Mets and Tigers and Yankees have some fun tonight.
Where in the world are Welsh and Corbin? Carol, I got scared, Bubba. On Wednesday, I was like, me and Carol took a break. Well, what happened? He instantly got hit. So I realized I can't do that. Corbin and I have to travel. He got twice. I know. And I was terrified. I was like, oh my God. So a little bit scared. So me and Corbin, we're going to continue because if I don't do it, he's clearly going to get hurt. So where in the world did Welsh and Corbin Carroll, the bestest of friends, where did we travel? We've traveled so many great places this year, to the Eiffel Tower, to Price is Right, to even Pandora in Avatar World. We've done all those great places. The hint today was Sky. Sky was the hint. We're going to play the video, but you have a guess when we come back? Just think about it. You got 30 seconds. 30 seconds to guess. Where have we been? It was Sky. We had some interesting one. My boy Donnie, I didn't. Oh yeah, here it was. He said Sky Harbor Airport. That's actually a great guess. That is the local airport out here in Arizona. It's a horrible place. Carly said the moon. Michael said Bermuda Triangle. That's actually a very sneaky thinking one. Bubba, do you have a guess?
I'm gonna get real weird with this. It's probably wrong, but I think you're running routes with Sky Moore because he was wide open all day on Thursday and the ball never made it to him.
Well, guess what? Corbin Carroll and I, we got on the field, and Patrick Mahomes even threw us a ball. Look at that. Corbin Carroll caught a ball. I caught a ball. Everybody but Sky Moore. Patrick Mahomes wouldn't even he wouldn't throw the ball to Sky Moore, but he threw it to Corbin and I. We went to Kansas City. We caught balls on the field. Look how happy we are. We both got receptions. We both had more receptions than Sky Moore on the opening of Thursday Night Football in the season. We couldn't be happier. The great athletes we are. Patrick Mahomes, he appreciates us more than he appreciates Sky Moore. Look how happy we are. And guess what?
That was great.
Yeah, it was great. Did you like that one?
When you said earlier, I purposely didn't say the Sky.
I was trying to screw everybody. I was trying to screw everybody up a little bit there. We did get some correct. Angelo was the first one. He said Kansas City. Penny right here bounced right off of Sky Moore's hands. Concase. I think this is Concase's second one, by the way, which he meant Arrowhead right here. He got that. That's right. That's where we were. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I played Sky Moore too. It is absolute pain. It's garbage. I'm the dumbest NFL better of all time thinking he was anything. And guess what? Patrick Mahomes, he targets me and Corbin Carroll more than he targets Sky Moore. So that's where we were. Last up here is our home run board and home run calls. I don't think a ton has changed. Well, actually, it looks like Tater has pushed up a little bit, and Razor Ramon is coming back. Milk Carton Razor Ramon, wherever Razor is. I'm still on the board at 41, but the top 5 are Blue Harvester, Tater, Ramon, Benchwarmer, and Bobby Good. There is a 12 homer difference, though, between 5 and first. Blue Harvester has a very, very good lead, but the top 3 could go to anybody, and they will win a customized helmet from Corbin Carroll that not only has his autograph, but says Fantasy Pros Home Run Champion, which I have right here, which I will personally be sending. So home run call, Bubba, who you sending out today?
I'm just going to have some fun this weekend. Give me some Jason Dominguez. This kid has just been amazing. He's, gets the Brewers. Burns on Sunday can be tough, but give me some Jason Dominguez.
Yeah, and that's a good point. This is a weekend call. I'm going with Matt Olson. I'm being cheap, going up against Pittsburgh. There's a couple juicy matchups in there. I'm trying to get a few homers. I can't catch these guys. There's no chance, but I have gotten to 40, so I want to maybe push to 45. That's my goal this year. I don't remember. Someone have to remind me what Joe did last year. My only goal is to have more than Joe. I want to have the all-time record of this show.
He had to do pretty good because he had Aaron Judge for the entire month of September.
Yeah, so I know it was in the 40s. I want to say like Go Cards was usually the gatekeeper of the home run thing. It was like 44 or something, but I just want to beat Joe and I want to be the all-time leader. That is the goal. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Make sure you're back with us again next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're back at it. We will be answering your questions, talking about the latest news, and getting you guys all prepped for your week through the playoffs. We love you, Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. For Bubba on Twitter at BDNtrick, I am the Welsh on Twitter at IsItTheWelsh. We'll see you next time. Have a fantastic weekend. Goodbye for now. You all have as many catches as Sky Moore did, every single one of you.